We bass players need to master the basics of our trade. So that involves practicing scales, practicing bass parts, bass lines, roots and fifths. But that's not why we're attracted to music necessarily. We want to play melodies, and there are so many advances in teaching the bass that focus on melody. I've covered them extensively in the past, but I am so pumped to discover David Hayes' Beginner Bass 50 Melodies in first position for double bass. 50 melodies. It's absolutely amazing, this collection of songs, and as you'll see, you can develop much more than first position with these. They're available in our sheet music store. Let's dive in. Number one, we start off with the British National Anthem, and that's one of the things that I love, discovering music from people not based in the United States. I wouldn't think to practice the British National Anthem necessarily in first position, but it just works great. What's in the part and what isn't in the part. David doesn't give you any bowings for this. He does give you some slurs. There aren't any dynamics. Add your own. You can practice this as a tone exercise. That was kind of forte what I did, but we could do the same thing. Piano. We can practice phrasing. We could go through and mark in phrasing. It's just a great way to think about how phrasing actually works and how to develop that skill. I've done a whole video on that. And these are wonderful for developing tone, yes, but also just vibrato. You might want to just take the notes that are longer than a quarter note and vibrate on them. So wonderful. Does it work in first position? Obviously, that's what the book is called. But guess what? You do not need to stay in first position if you want to take it to the next level. I could take this and I could close all the open strings. It's going to up the challenge level a few levels for sure, but and you can even go in right fingerings in this. You can write the first position fingerings or other fingerings. And also, as you're going through this, you might want to try playing everything that's written in first position here, all 50 of these, up in thumb position. Instead of open D, you'd play thumb on the D. Instead of 1 down here, you'd play 1 up here. And every time you have 4, you play 3. That is a wonderful way for developing the upper position while still playing things that are relatively simple in terms of fingering. And I love to take and just kind of mirror these melodies. All of them work this way in thumb position. And I love the chance to have lots of at-bats, lots of repetitions with these 50 melodies. We get stuck playing just 1 or 2 different melodies. I wish that this book had been available when I did my course for Discover Double Bass, on my beginner course, certainly. I went and I thought of some of my favorite folk melodies and I included a few, but this is a great supplement for the course of mine if you happen to have ever checked that out. And yeah, it's super cool to get different styles, different note lengths, and let's just go through a few more. So, Clair de Lune, number 2. So I could have echoed that time. I just kind of played the same dynamic. Maybe I'll echo this time. This B section. In addition to just getting comfortable playing in first position in a variety of keys and time signatures and all that kind of good stuff, it's a great chance to practice your expressivity. If you don't start now, when are you going to start? I think the time to start is the moment you pick up your bass every single day. Getting some string crossings and some double ups, all these skills that we need to learn as bass players, but what a great kind of friendly way, knowing that no matter what we're going to see, we're at least going to stay in first position. Unlike the other bowed string instruments, we bass players, I mean, we're having to play all 4 strings almost from the very beginning. Look at some of that in those last few bars where I'm top 3 strings. And all 4 strings just within a few bars. Getting some chances to practice these thicker strings, lower strings, that's another wonderful thing about keeping these melodies in first position. And then we get the wonderful solo from Mahler's First Symphony. So we're introducing some minor, different kinds of legato, opportunities for vibrato. Maps out so well if you take it up the octave and just think about it in thumb position. And you'll notice that there is a wonderful overlap between the folk songs that David Hayes is pulling from and the folk songs that George Vance is pulling from. You'll hear some of the same, but you'll hear so many more here, and this is just a great compliment if you're working through progressive repertoire, which I know a lot of people do, a lot of teachers, a lot of players, a lot of people that watch this channel. This is just a great way to get some more at-bats, some more repetitions, some more supplementary material. Getting some different rhythmic practice and these 8th note rests on the beat. This is a great one with the metronome when you're developing your counting skills. And I'm playing them short just because that's the way I hear this in my head, but you could also experiment with articulation. That's a great thing to do with these pieces. If we take How Beautiful Are the Feet from Messiah, Handel's wonderful Messiah, we get some 3/4 practice and we can think about the way we might phrase in a Baroque setting, a little bit different than if we're playing sea shanties like David has here, Blow the Man Down. And I love that these are all unaccompanied. David has wonderful selections for bass and piano, as well as multiple basses and many other things. He has such a wealth of double bass music. But how great, especially when you're working in your first position skill, to not have to have a piano player and to just be able to do this all yourself and to map it out the way you can in the different positions if you want to take it to the next step. Love it. We even get 5/4, and it's just great. And some time signature changes, so just introducing all of this and some folk songs that I don't know so well, like this Searching for Lambs. Ooh, very modal. So cool to have this mix of styles in all of this, all in first position. If you know Appalachian Spring, you'll know this. What a wonderful way to practice phrasing. Yankee Doodle, and we have some dots in here. So now this is an opportunity to work on either playing staccato on the string, and once you develop it, a little spiccato. The Wild Horseman. This is a wild string crossing 6/8 exercise. This will challenge the professional players if you go fast enough. I'm going to take it nice and slow. Even that tempo, if that's too much, slow it down a little bit more. What a great way to practice the skills you need to know to play in orchestra, but also solo. The Miller of D, we got some great 6/8 practicing. Baby Elephants, this is like training wheels for the famous Elephant by Saint-Saëns. That's actually great for getting you prepared to play that classic solo for the bass. And to think melodically on the A and E strings like this is just so good for bass players, because we spend so much of our time in ensembles, especially sticking down here on these notes, and it's really easy to just get into roots and fifths, kind of turn off your brain territory. So to be thinking about phrasing and tone in the solos, that's going to bleed over into your ensemble playing too. More classics like the Trout. This is great. This is so much fun to play, and it's one of those moments that bass players love and that audiences remember the bass for. So fun. And I love this Pavane. This is such a great melody by Warlock. And if you want to break the first position rule and expand it, well, what a great piece for that. We could stay on the A string. Then maybe go down the D string. The A harmonic. So many options. We could take it up the octave. Or our trick, just taking over into thumb position. And ending with a little Verdi. Oh my goodness, what a great way to end. So fun to practice and so great for your musical development. And it's amazing what you can do in first position. If you enjoyed this video, check out what we've got linked up and we'll see you over there.